You're in the whole 6010.
If you were expecting your usual dose of fantasy focus, then this is your official plot twist, because Facts versus Feelings is taking over the feed. Welcome, I'm Liz Loza, and today's fact is that change is inevitable. So stop resisting it and start leaning into new possibilities. Like this special episode, where we bring you plenty of fantasy football talk, but with a different vibe and probably a little chaos. You know me, but you may not know my producer. It's Mr. David Presley. David, welcome.
Hi, Liz. I'm happy to be here. I am excited for this year's fantasy football season. I'm already mock drafting.
Are you? Oh my gosh. Well, are you finding it? I mean, we're going to get into a lot, but what was the biggest surprise just off the dome that you have found from mocking?
That I'm wildly underprepared and definitely see myself avoiding Christian McCaffrey as much as I possibly can. And I just have a feeling that that's going to be a mistake.
Did you read my Red Flags Players article?
I read all your articles, Liz.
Well, then you should be liking CMC, but we will get to that a little bit later. I think right now we should just play the disclaimer.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Fantasy football is a game of inches, luck, and irrational confidence. Proceed with caution. Trust your gut, and remember, ADP is a suggestion, not a command. Mock drafts are fantasy, your real draft is war, and just because you heard it on this show doesn't mean you should do it. If all goes wrong, just say your account was hacked.
Every offseason, there's this reshuffling of talent, but this particular year, there's some pretty big name vets moving to new locations. And I get it, the prospect of change can be scary, but it can also light a fire. So I want to talk about some players that have been around the block, but still got it.
And let's also say that change is neither good or bad. It simply is.
Oh, Liz, I love the name of this segment. Who we got first? Team me up, player one.
Well, you cannot talk about players who have been around the block but still got it without beginning with Davante Adams moving from the Jets to the Rams. Big reaction from you, Dave. What are your immediate thoughts?
I mean, I just said I've been mock drafting, and in the beginning of my journey, I was not drafting him, and the more and more and more I mock, the more I'm like, you know what? I think he's a sneaky little play. Davante Adams. Sell me. What have you got? Give me the facts.
It's interesting to call Davante Adams sneaky after he's been a top producer at the position for so long. But yes, he is entering his age 32 season. He will no longer be tethered to Aaron Rodgers, which some are considering a little bit of a concern because he may not be force-fed. But listen, in Los Angeles, Cooper Kupp's departure opens up 100-plus targets, and we know that Matt Stafford can still sling it. Davante Adams is a great complement to Puka Nacua, and I do think that while probably his targets per game will go down to about 7, his efficiency with Stafford under center will in fact increase, and still Davante Adams has top 12 potential in him for fantasy purposes.
Are you taking him over Tyreek Hill?
I am taking him over Tyreek Hill. I have, just for reference, him one spot ahead in my rankings of Ladd McConkey.
This is why I love doing this show with you, Liz. You've convinced me. I'm hitting smash most of the times now on that draft button with Davante. I'm excited. Who's next?
Let's talk about Javonte Williams.
Oh, God. Okay. Let's go to the opposite end of the scale. Let's do it.
Dave, I totally understand, right? Like Segway scooters, unicorn frappuccinos, and adulthood, Javonte Williams has never lived up to the hype. So there is obvious concern. He disappointed in 2024. A lot of people thought he'd have a bounce back season. It didn't happen. But now he is in Dallas. Rico Dowdle averaged 17 touches per game last year. I like that volume. Is there the chance that Javonte Williams never regains the form that he exhibited at the top of his career? Absolutely. But again, that is a risk I am willing to take in the 10th round of drafts. Who does he have behind him? Miles Sanders and a rookie named Jayden Blue. Could the rookie overtake him? Sure. Is that going to happen week 1? Nah, probably not. So if we're looking at volume and value, I think Williams is presenting with RB2 opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the talent, right? Like, the talent's there. I think the injury definitely hurt him. But I mean, you want running backs on good offenses, right? Running backs on good offenses lead to good things. Look at Chase Brown last year. So, you know, I don't know if I'm hitting the smash draft button as much.
I mean, the problem is we're talking about the Cowboys. So, like, are the Cowboys a good offense? This is always like a bit of a polarizing issue.
It's not a great way to start the show, Liz, when you're just trashing Cowboy fans. Albeit, I guess that's what we do here on ESPN from time to time. But no, I mean, yeah, there's like you said, there's value. All right. I have to admit, I definitely sneaked a look at this next player.
You sneaked a peek. I sneaked
a peek, and the tight end position is the bane of my existence in fantasy football. And this player,
welcome to fantasy football.
Yeah, welcome. Not stating the obvious for everybody. Sell me on this one because this player has been on my dynasty team. Don't worry, I have some young tight ends in the mix, but this guy's been a struggle for me.
Evan Ingram's 2024 was brutal. He was limited to just 9 games because of a hamstring issue. He also had a shoulder injury. He had surgery on his shoulder during the offseason. So 2024, a down effort, absolutely. But now he also on a new team. He is in Denver, one of the most exciting ascendant offenses in this league, tied to an exciting new quarterback. So I feel like when we look at the pieces in Denver, Ingram has a very clear role. You've got Cortland Sutton on the outside, you've got Marvin Mims on the outside, and then you have Evan Ingram as a short to intermediate, but mostly short safety valve over the middle he's basically like a supercharged slot receiver for Bo Nix. He's currently the tight end 9 coming off of the board. Mike Clay has him projected to clear 100 targets. So, you know, if I don't get David Njoku about a round or so sooner, I do prefer Njoku because, let's be honest, Evan Ingram in the red area of the field is not always...
He's allergic to the red zone. Was it 1 touchdown last season?
No, I'm not disputing that. But in PPR formats, he is essentially working as a supersized slot receiver. So I will take all of that, 80 catches, out of a tight end that I'm getting super late. I think there's an opportunity for some bounce back here.
Sean Payton made Jimmy Graham a thing. So, you know, I could see it happening.
And there you have it. Some familiar names who, despite change, are offering fantasy managers fresh potential at intriguing value. Next up, a name you definitely know. He's my dear friend, former co-host, and NFL running back, Austin Ekeler. Stay tuned. I promised you Austin Ekeler, and here he is, running back for the Washington Commanders, fantasy football expert and creator of charitydraft.com. We'll get into that a bit more later. Austin, welcome to Facts versus Feelings. How have you been, man?
Wow. I've been awesome, just continuing to push forward with everything. As you can see, you know, kind of moved from coast to coast. I'll also take the fantasy expert as a compliment. I appreciate that. You know, I've been around the fantasy game a long time. I don't know if I'm as expert as you are, but I appreciate
you held your own. We had a show for a little bit.
Yeah, that was, you know, it was a 2-man show. You know, we did our thing. So I appreciate you for that, for holding up your end and also helping me kind of get my start into the fantasy expert kind of realm. So I appreciate you.
Well, I love that you're mentioning it because obviously the last time we did this together, we were both in different places. You were with the Chargers then. You're now with the Commanders, entering your second year in DC. How was that process for you? The transition, learning a new playbook, bonding with new teammates. I want to hear about that from like a player perspective.
Yeah, it's a bittersweet moment when you've been with the club for so long. You kind of really build roots into that culture, into that community. So, you know, it was one of those things where the bitter part was leaving what I had started, where I had built, you know, that connection with that community, those teammates, and that environment. But sweet because it was the means to a new beginning. And that new beginning was awesome. However, it was also a little challenging because with new things, there's a lot of unexpected things, you know, as far as like, how's the culture? How are the teammates? You know, where do I live? You know, I just got married. So now I have to move my wife. She's got to move to the East Coast now. And so a lot of new news, which, you know, I attacked them head on and kind of roll with the punches.
The organization also came together in this totally new, and I love that you're mentioning exactly how new it was, situation, and had an incredible Cinderella season. New doesn't mean that there are obstacles that are not, insurmountable, but in fact, the new could be a whole better new.
Absolutely. And with sports, it's kind of a roll of the dice, like from a fan's perspective, all you know is like emotion and what you see in the media. And so for us, like we knew coming into our building and actually after a few weeks, like, okay, like we have a lot of veterans around here and our culture is really getting shifted in the right direction to actually be a team that feels like we've been playing together for a long time. And then you sprinkle Jayden Daniels in there where it's like, oh, we got a stud over here as well with a lot of vets around him. And boom, there we go.
So there's always this debate in fantasy when you're drafting running backs that are attached to ultra mobile quarterbacks. So I'm going to ask you specifically because the debate is like, well, on the one hand, your running back can be, quote, poached at the goal line, right? Josh Allen style, you just mentioned him. Those TDs are vultured. Or there are, a la Saquon and Jalen Hurts last year, all of these lanes opened up for the running back to like find holes and rush through. So from your perspective and, keeping that fantasy cap on, which way do you think it goes, maybe in general and then specific to your situation in Washington?
If there's a running quarterback or a quarterback that has the capability to run, that's 100% going to take some carries and some opportunities away from the running back. It's because there's only one ball, and that's one play that maybe could have gone to yours, but it ended up going to the quarterback. But here's where there's some pluses, and that's longevity in your running back. And then also, like you mentioned, now the defense has to play the whole field. So yes, there might be some plays that, hey, don't go to your running back if that's on your fantasy team. However, the ones that do hopefully are more impactful and there's more efficiency that is in those plays because the quarterback's pulling maybe one defender out of the box, which is hopefully over time leading to more efficiency down the road for your running back.
So you mentioned the complementary nature of Washington's backfield and that you excel as a pass catcher. Is there a part of your game, though, that you think is underrated?
I don't know what's underrated because I feel like I do have respect in the fantasy world, and then the stuff that might be underrated isn't necessarily going to show up on the stat sheets when it comes to pass pro. Like that's why I'm trusted in there on third down.
That's exactly what I was going to say, Austin. I think the underrated part of your game is that people don't realize you're in there chipping all the time. Like I obviously watch it.
It's not just chipping. I'm shoulder under your chin pad, stoning you in this hole in the A gap.
It doesn't always have to be fantasy. It can all be cumulative to your style of play. That was exactly the answer I had. So I'm glad you agree. Mention the pass pro. It's important.
It is, and it's kind of unseen importance because it keeps me on the field. Coaches trust me to be on the field. Okay, it's third down. Austin, you're good. We know you got all the protections and you'll be able to pick it all up. And you see it really clearly. And it's super important, especially with the young quarterback, because the game moves fast. Sometimes things are a little bit off. And if we have a guy that we can trust in there to protect, it's one thing he doesn't have to worry about. Nope, he'll be good. Him and the center be on the same page.
So there's a lot going on, and you're chipping and you're pass pro in the chin and all the things, and there's defenders coming at you.
Stoning them in the hole.
Which one hits you the hardest? Has there been a defender that you're like, you mentioned the 2 concussions at the top of last year, like which one are you the most fearful of? Will you give a defender some snaps?
Never fearful of another man out there. 100%.
Okay.
Like never. You are going in to run through their face every time. I don't care who it is. However, there are some that do hit you hard, but I've been playing in the league for 8 years. So I've pretty much mastered not to get teed off on, except on kickoff. I got to figure that one out. Not to get teed off on as a running back, so.
Okay. So hold on, not most fearful of, but is there a defender you most respect?
See, these are questions that you ask me this. You have to respect everybody.
Okay. Fair enough. I got to try, Austin.
You have to respect everybody like they are the best player because you have to go and approach it with the perfect technique, the perfect timing, and be in the right spot, the right time if you're going to be able to make a play. And if you don't respect somebody, that's probably when you're going to get got. And everyone gets got. And so sometimes you need a reminder. But for me, no, I'm trying not to get teed off on. I refuse to fear anybody, and I'm trying to run through everyone's face.
I love the attitude. I especially love it as we are approaching the season. This is fantastic. You do the fantasy thing, and I have to ask you as well, like, have any players, like teammates, asked you for fantasy advice when you're on the field?
I'm probably like the most active player that's in fantasy. And so it's a pretty big cliff between probably me and the next kind of group of guys that play. No one's actually asked me for fantasy advice besides if they should draft me or not.
And obviously, given that incredible soliloquy, you always say yes, right?
I mean, how could I not? If I say no, don't draft me, I should probably retire. You know,
Okay,
that's it. That's it.
So then to that point, what is the fantasy advice that you would give to the people who are drafting you this season?
Yeah, I think this is important. Yes, my role has changed over the years, right? Going from scoring 20 touchdowns, now I'm a double-headed backfield with a running quarterback as well. So yeah, my stock draft has definitely fallen a little bit because of the change of my role. However, what hasn't changed is the efficiency. That is the name of my game. That's why I'm still playing in year 9, because I'm efficient. I'm in the right spot, the right time. I'm trusted. Like, I take care of the ball. Like, I'm scoring touchdowns. Like, yeah, it might not be, the volume that I had before. However, if you're able to get me as a late pick, boom, that's an opportunity to have someone that's going to be reliable, get you 10, 12, 15 points a game here.
All right, last thing, as we head into 2025, what is your own personal fantasy hot take?
Ooh, hot take. That Christian McCaffrey should be a top 5 pick.
You're not worried about the durability issues that lingered last year for him?
When it comes to fantasy football, if you want to win, you need guys that can top the charts. And when we're talking about Christian McCaffrey, yes, he has had injuries. Absolutely. I know. And it's definitely something that, is a concern. However, this is something that is a league by league. Every year is a clean slate. All right. We're going into a new clean slate. And if you're wanting to win, you need the guys that are popping off, because those are league winners. You have to have league winners. You can't have guys that, are on your first few picks that aren't going to be able to kind of have that potential to pop. Obviously, you can find some sleepers or some guys that maybe pop, and that's kind of rolling the dice, getting lucky. However, if there's guys that are kind of set up in a situation where they can pop, those guys you got to take advantage of. And I think Chris McCaffrey, for that reason, is a top 5 pick.
We always say on this show that burnt takes are boring. I love that. And I also love the positional respect, Austin. That's awesome of you.
I mean, don't call me biased, but I'm kind of biased.
Totally fine. You're allowed to be. You're allowed to be. You want to play a little game now?
Let's play. What you got?
Okay, this game is called Fact or Feeling. I'm going to read a statement, and then you are going to tell me whether that is a fact or a feeling. Answer with immediately what comes into your head, but you can, explain if you feel like it. Ready?
Gotcha. Fact or feeling.
Okay.
All right.
Number 1, fantasy is just a game.
Fact. It's just a game.
No one looks bad playing air guitar.
Ooh. Feeling. I've seen some bad air guitars. I myself have had some ones early in the day, and I was like, okay, I gotta fix that one. So the air guitar has had a progression, and we're finally dialed in and making it look good.
Nothing Else Matters by Metallica is an overrated song.
Feeling. So close, no matter how far.
Oh my God. Austin, this song is 6 minutes long.
You see the background? I got the drums and the guitar back there.
I know, that's why I had to ask.
Metallica.
All right. You should always draft a running back in one of your first 2 rounds.
Ooh, feeling.
Really?
It depends where you're at. If you're late, I could see you getting receivers. If you're early, I would say yes, get one of the premier guys.
Terry McLaurin will beat his 2024 stats and finish as a top 5 fantasy wide receiver in 2025.
We got to get him paid first, and if that happens, then fact. Because, again, getting him paid, all new energy, coming in, prove it year as well of like, yes, this is why you paid me. Jayden coming in at number 2, he's going to take off, and our whole offense is going to be out there balling, hopefully all in the top 50.
All right, last one here. Players always post a career campaign when their jersey number matches their age. Fact or feeling?
Ooh, I'm going to say fact, because that is my year right here.
Yep.
It's the year of the 3-0, the 30. It's time to come alive in my 9th year. So this is the year. Let's go. Best one yet.
I love that. What a great way to end our visit. Don't be a stranger. Good luck this season. Thank you so much for joining us. Before you leave, can you please tell everybody about what you're working on, particularly charitydraft.com?
Yeah, absolutely. We all love fantasy football, and this is just a better way, in my opinion, to play because you get to play for some exclusive prizes, game jerseys, game tickets, event tickets, game-worn stuff from the players. And so at Charity Draft, basically we take these items from players and then put them in different tournaments that are up for grabs. So you can enter in like the Brian Dawkins, the Marcus Mariota, the Geno Smith, mine, and play for some of our game gear or things like that. And then all of those funds go to the charity of our choice.
Fantasy for good is always the best kind of fantasy. Austin, thank you for being such a great friend, such a great competitor. Follow Austin on social at Austin Ekeler, and be sure to check out charitydraft.com, and also give your boy some love this season in fantasy, maybe rostering him.
Hey, you won't be disappointed. I'll tell you that. As long as I'm on the field, I'm going to be efficient.
Thanks, Austin.
Thanks.
Now we're going to talk about a guy who, yes, is starting the season as a backup. But you know what? I'll just play the drop.
Daddy, I love him!
Jordan Mason has spent most of his career being overshadowed. It happened at Georgia Tech with Jahmyr Gibbs, it happened in San Francisco with Christian McCaffrey, and now he is slated to work behind Aaron Jones in Minnesota. But when given a shot, Mason has risen to the occasion. He was the RB5 in yards per carry last year with a YPC of 5.2. He was also a top 5 fantasy producer at the position in 3 of his first 4 games as the 49ers starter. Do we not think that a 30-year-old Aaron Jones, who, by the way, is coming off of a 306 total touch season, might be a little bit gassed? Or, I don't know, might need to be spelled on occasion, particularly in the red area of the field, which happens to be where Mason shines. Mason was, after all, the RB22 in red zone touches last year. I fully expect Mason to be the favorite in short yardage and goal line situations. Obviously, if Jones goes down, well then yes, Mason's stock will soar. But given Mason's skill set, given the offensive line that he's working behind and the offense that he is a part of, Mason offers managers weekly upside and in the 14th round of most fantasy drafts. So yeah, sure, he's a backup right now, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't add him to your roster. And on that note, it's time for
Last Call.
Today we learned that value as it relates to volume cannot be overlooked, that Austin Ekeler isn't afraid of anything, and that change is ever present. Remember, every season brings a fresh start, so have some fun with it. Definitely use the lessons you learned from then to inform your now, but don't cling to what was, or you might miss out on what could be. Big thanks to Austin Ekeler for joining the show, and as always, to producer Dave Presley for being my sounding board. Be sure to check out my Red Flags article on the .com. Oh, and don't forget, Fantasy Focus is back 5 days a week beginning Monday, July 28th. Until next time, may your facts be solid, your feelings be right, and your bus be someone else's problem.